Chelsea, the Reading Outlaw, here to do a combo TBR for you guys. Coming up in the month of April is a read along, is the Genrethon, and so I will be participating in this. This is running for the 10th through the 17th of April. It's being hosted by a whole group of lovely ladies who I will link down below. Some of them I know very, very well. Some of them I'm just getting to know, but all of them I love quite dearly. The purpose of the Genrethon is just to share love for genre and maybe experience some genres that you haven't gotten to yet. So the goal is to pick up at least one work in 3 different genres, and so that's what my goal is going to be. So I picked up a couple of things to get through, hopefully in that week. The first one is one you've already seen. It's called Quarter Life Poetry, Poems for the Young, Broken, Hangry by Samantha Jane. I received this from the publisher. You can take a look at it and hear more about it in my publisher haul, but this is literally just tiny poems and pictures. So I'm really looking forward to getting into it, but guessing that it probably will not take all that long to get to, which is nice because next up after that, I have Marjorie M. Liu, Tiger Eye. I heard about this from the Get Booked podcast, which is a recommendation podcast from Book Riot. They did a special podcast edition at their live event last year, Book Riot Live, that was all about romance novels. And there was a question about fantasy romance, and this one was recommended. It's about a shapeshifter. He becomes a tiger. That's all I know. And sexy times. And Amanda Nelson recommended it, so I am all here for that. And then next we have 2 books that I don't know anything about, but I went to my library's different genre sections in genres that I don't normally read and just kind of browsed until I found a couple that sounded good. The first one is a mystery, as indicated by the mystery sticker, and it's called What Angels Fear, the First Sebastian St. Cyr Mystery. And it takes place in 1811 in King George's England. Apparently Sebastian is a fugitive on the run for his life, but he runs into Cat Boleyn, who broke his heart forever ago or something. I don't know. It looks tray creepy, and it sounded just not mystery enough that I could probably make that happen. So I'm looking forward to this one. I actually read an okay number of mysteries, but very rarely are they just mysteries full out. They're usually psychological thrillers or literary fiction with a twist or something like that. So I'm excited to get into just a mystery. And then lastly, this is the book that I'm excited to read it because I want to give this genre a chance, but I'm also not excited to read it because I have some very, not great feelings about this genre. And that is Westerns, as indicated by the Western sticker. And this is William W. Johnston with J.A. Johnston, Sean O'Brien, Better Off Dead. I don't know anything about it other than when I texted my grandpa asking him about some good Western writers, he recommended the Johnstons. So I picked that up. You can't even really see the picture up top because of the barcode, but it's got a cowboy and a guy with some truck burying something, and there's a gun and standoff and stuff. So I don't know. Westerns. But I am excited to get to Genrethon. I'm excited to get to some genres that I don't normally read all that often or really haven't ever read before in the case of a Western. So yeah, like I said, that will be going on for the 10th through the 17th. I will link more info down below if you'd like to participate. But guys, April doesn't end at the 17th, so what about after that? Let me tell you. After that, we have a couple things. We have Hold Still by Lynn Steger Strong. This is a mother-daughter novel about a mother who's an English professor and a daughter who is rebelling, who is making some very poor life choices until one of those life choices is a life choice that she kind of can't come back from. And then she has to deal more with her estranged, or she has to get back in touch with her mother who she's become estranged from, and blah, blah, blah. It sounds like it should be, the mother-daughter parts of the plot don't sound the most appealing to me, but the mother is an English, here's what sounds good to me. Maya Taylor, an intense, gifted English professor, has a tendency to retreat when she is needed most, escaping on long morning runs or finding comfort in the well-thumbed novels in her library. Sounds like me. That's all I needed. And so next up, we have a couple of books that I'm hoping to read as a pair. The first one is nonfiction, and it's called Imbeciles, The Supreme Court, American Eugenics, and the Sterilization of Carrie Buck. I believe you would have seen me talk about this in one of my recent library hauls, but just in case I did not actually remember to talk about it, this is about a time in the American history that I didn't even know existed until I saw this book, and that is in the early 20th century, right around the time of World War II, America started becoming very entranced, as did most of the world, with this idea of eugenics. Eugenics being the science and politics of racial purity that led to the rise of the Nazi Party. And even in America, we were not immune to thinking like that. And so this is the story of Carrie Buck, who was a woman who was deemed feeble-minded and was forcibly sterilized by the Supreme Court, or was forcibly sterilized by a lower court, and her case for retribution was taken all the way to the Supreme Court. So this book looks at the history of mental health in America. It looks at the history of racial politics at a time when racial politics were not just about black and white. And that's not to say that they're just about black and white now, but back when the conversation was happening on a different, in my opinion, more disturbing level. So I am really excited to get to this one. I've already read the introduction. It seems like it's going to be a really easy nonfiction read, and I'm really excited to pick it up. And with that comes a book called Of Better Blood by Susan Moger. This is a young adult novel that I had not heard of until it came across my desk for processing. This is, let me just read it to you. I was born with a strong bloodline. I was my father's pride and joy, but that was before. Rowan Collier comes from a prominent New York family, but for years she's been dead to them, disabled by polio and living in an institutional home. Her only way out is a summer job with the New England Betterment Council as part of a traveling exhibit called The Unfit Family, A Blight on America. Sounds awful eugenics-y to me. This is young adult fiction that takes place at a similar time to Imbeciles, that time of eugenics in America, and it follows a girl who kind of finds her own family in this kind of traveling exposition of people that the government has deemed unfit. So I hate this language, but essentially sideshow participants. People who you would have seen on, in sideshows. People who are physically and mentally handicapped, people who are born with deformities, people who are born different, basically. And so this is about a young adult woman who kind of chooses to find her family after the family chosen for her isn't there for her. So I'm really, really excited to get into this one. I think it's going to be a good pairing. So I'm really looking forward to it. And then next up, we have two more books that aren't like a pairing like these ones were, but they definitely go together. Another nonfiction is the new Peggy Orenstein, Girls and Sex. I read her book, Cinderella Ate My Daughter, a while ago, which was all about like princess culture and Disney princess culture and femininity and young girls and all of that kind of stuff. So I love, needless to say, it was all kinds of up in my wheelhouse. I really, really enjoyed that one. So I'm hoping and thinking that this one is going to be very similar. It's blurbed on the back by Sheryl Sandberg and Caitlin Moran and Rashida Jones, all of whom are people that I love. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like, navigating the complicated new landscape of girls and sex. So along with that is another young adult book. And this one is called First by Lori Elizabeth Flynn. First is about a young teenage girl who has lots of sex, but her caveat to that is she only has sex with virgins. She, in her mind, is serving the purpose, of allowing these boys to kind of get their first awkward sexual encounter out of the way so that when they have sex later with their girlfriends, they'll be better at it. So in her mind, she's doing it as almost like a service to these girlfriends. And also, by doing that, she's able to keep herself from getting emotionally attached. But of course, that doesn't stay like that when she meets a guy who cares more about her than what's between her legs. And also when her best friend's boyfriend comes to partake of her services, so to speak. So it sounds like it could be kind of problematic. I'm really hoping that it's well written and it stays away from some of the danger zones that I think it could fall into. But either way, I'm really looking forward to looking into it. And it's been a really long time since I read a young adult novel where sex acceptance and sex positivity was like so forward, front and center. Maybe that's a video I should do. Teen books that talk about sex positivity. I'm thinking book two. We shall see. But that is First by Lori Elizabeth Flynn. let's get a non-glare. There you go. And then lastly, you guys knew you'd see it eventually. Here's the eventually. I will be reading Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. This is the sequel to Red Rising. It is the second book in the Red Rising trilogy. I also have the third book, Morning Star, but something tells me I probably won't get to that till May. I have no idea what's going to happen. I enjoyed Red Rising so much that I have not even opened the flap of this book. I do not want to know what happens. I just know that it is the sequel. And if you have read Red Rising, then you know it ends on quite the cliffhanger as to what Darrow is going to do now that he has kind of infiltrated the society. So I am looking forward to seeing how this one pans out. All right, guys, there you go. That is my Genrethon TBR as well as my rest of April TBR. Let me know down below if you've read any of these, if you have thoughts, comments, concerns, or you just want to chat. I'm always here to talk books, and always you can look me up on Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter. I am all over the interwebs, guys, and I would love to talk to you. All right, happy reading.